hopping on. CG Green, good morning. Okay, so we got some active weather on tap for Washington State today. We're looking at the satellite imagery right now. And something interesting to know, all these little flashes right here, those are lightning strikes that have been detected by satellite. So we've got this system moving on shore. And if we go ahead and do this right here, we can see there's still plenty of rain that's moving up into western Washington right now, also parts of eastern Washington. And then once this front goes through, there's going to be colder air aloft, which is going to help there be instability due to the difference between the surface temperature and the cold air above. And we already have a good number of thunderstorms moving up the coast just to the west of Oregon. And as the day goes on, there's going to be an increased chance for thunderstorms for portions of western Washington and also into eastern Washington. But the highest chances for thunderstorms to me really seem like southwest Washington and also down there by Battleground and Vancouver. And something that I talked about a little bit this morning on my Facebook page, which I wanted to show you guys. So just one second, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for you guys here. Is right here. I drew up this little diagram, and let me know if you guys can see this okay. But this is a sounding I pulled for over there by Battleground, Washington, and Vancouver, Washington. And what this indicates is later this afternoon, there's going to be some good turning with height out of the south and then slowly turning more towards the east out of the west. And this, when we have these turning with height winds in the lower atmosphere, in tandem with instability, if we have a shower that has a robust updraft or a thunderstorm that has a pretty robust updraft that moves through a sheared environment like this, that can cause the storms to begin to turn and rotate, which could lead to funnel clouds developing and thunderstorms and things like that, and possibly a tornado. So yeah, if you want to see that post, I posted that on my Facebook page earlier today. And what is leading to this is we have this system moving through, and once the cold front goes through, there's going to be some pretty cold air aloft that's going to spread over Washington State, and that's going to lead to the increase of instability. So this is looking at the 4 a.m. run of the HRRR model. It showed those thunderstorms occurring off the coast that are currently happening right there. You see all those flashes. But as that trough goes over top Washington State, there's going to be an increase in low-level instabilities, especially for the coast, southwest Washington, and then down there by Battleground and Vancouver. And by the way, if you guys are watching on Facebook, I'm also live streaming on YouTube if you would rather watch on YouTube, and vice versa if you're watching over on YouTube. But this low-level instability is really what is something that's needed if there's going to be any sort of tornado possibilities. And the reason why I'm talking about tornado possibilities is just because down here by Vancouver and Battleground, there's going to be some favorable conditions possibly for just that. And this is another sounding I just pulled, possible hazard type, marginal tornado. And I just really want to overemphasize the chance of that occurring is very slim. It always is. But regardless, the chance is there today. The National Weather Service has actually issued a marginal chance for severe thunderstorms for Northwest California, West Oregon, and then a little teeny sliver goes right into Washington State. And they have tornado probabilities as well. If I could change anything about this, I would have scooted that tornado probability ever so slightly north and then over Clark County there by Battleground and Vancouver, Washington. This is looking at the HRRR simulated radar. And we can see this afternoon there are going to be a couple rounds of heavier showers that move through. Some of these could contain thunderstorms. And if we can get a thunderstorm that's isolated in nature like this run right here, down there by Battleground or Vancouver, that could be the kind of thunderstorm that could really take advantage of the shear in the atmosphere and us also have more access to the instability that may be present without it being crowded out by a bunch of other storms. If you're enjoying this content, please make sure and hit that like button on the stream and also subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook. All that stuff really, really helps out the channel and the page. So yeah, down there, I would say by Vancouver Battleground has probably the best chance of there being a possible funnel cloud or maybe even a tornado today. Out there on the coast, there would be the chance of there possibly being a water spout. And if a water spout were to come ashore, that would be classified as a tornado. But the most likely thing today is just going to be rain, heavy showers, and one clap variety thunderstorms. And what I mean by that is the kind of thunderstorm that moves through, almost nobody hears thunder, and then there's boom, one lightning strike, and you hear one clap of thunder. I call that a one clap wonder. And thanks, CG Green. He says my face looks better without the Wesley mustache. Yeah, I agree. That mustache was kind of creepy. I was Wesley from The Princess Bride on Friday. In other news, there is going to be some big wave action going through the day today into tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to have the bigger waves. The National Weather Service in Seattle has issued a coastal flood warning for their forecast area. There's a coastal flood advisory for the portion of the Washington coast that is under the purview of National Weather Service in Portland. But this warning on the National Weather Service, let me go ahead and move this so you guys can see that a little better. They have it going into effect. It already is in effect, and it stays into effect until 10 p.m. Thursday. Coastal flood warning, moderate to major coastal flooding is expected. Inundation of 2 to 3 feet above ground level is possible along shorelines and low-lying coastal areas for high surf. Large breaking waves of 20 to 25 feet. Wind for the coastal flood warning until 10 p.m. Thursday. For the high surf advisory from 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday. So that high surf advisory is mostly for tomorrow. And what they're expecting is significant coastal flooding due to high tides and storm surge. It's not very often you see those two words together around here, storm surge. This is expected to lead to numerous road closures, low-lying property, including homes, businesses, some critical infrastructure may be inundated. Shoreline erosion or damage may occur. Strong surf and sneaker waves can knock people off their feet, move driftwood and debris, causing injury and cause localized beach erosion. There's a high confidence in water levels reaching moderate to major flood inundations, coincident with the midday high tides, particularly in Westport and La Push. So if you live out there by Westport or La Push, the National Weather Service has put you on notice. So heads up about those things occurring. Let me know how you guys are doing in the comments if you have any questions or anything like that. I just wanted to thank you guys for hopping on. And by the way, currently live streaming on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, which is pretty cool. Checking out the comments real quick here before I continue. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, please make sure and hit that like button, all those things. It helps out the channel. Okay, so yeah, today, thunderstorms and king tides. Bellingham, up in Bellingham. The National Weather Service doesn't have any headlines up there for Bellingham today, with the exception of there being a small craft advisory. And there will be some pretty high tides up there as well, but there's no coastal flooding advisories or anything like that for Bellingham, Keith. In terms of wind, Bellingham is going to get breezy, but that's par for the course up there. Yeah, so Looks like Bellingham. This is an old model run. All right, there we go. Bellingham's going to be breezy today. Nothing too crazy, but you're going to have some decent gusts up there in Bellingham. And then with the passage of tomorrow's front, also going to be pretty breezy, but nothing headline worthy, I don't think. Down there in the southwest Washington coast tomorrow morning, it is also going to get pretty windy. There might be some gusts up towards 60 miles per hour for places like Westport, Ocean Park, Ocean Shores, Long Beach. Yeah, let me know if this stream quality is good, and also let me know if you guys would like me to do these kind of things a little bit more often. I am willing to do just that. Vivian, thinking about driving to Westport tomorrow. Yep. That'll be pretty interesting out there for sure. Kelly, so it'll be a fun weather day on Long Beach today. I would say so. Yeah, you guys would have a chance of seeing some thunderstorms possibly, some heavy showers for sure. Heck, there might even be a water spout depending on how it all works out, but that's kind of like hunting down a needle in a haystack around here. But yeah, big waves, high tide. It will be pretty interesting. It might be an interesting day to go down to Cape Disappointment. All right, I'm going to adjust this again. All right, taking a look at questions here again. Let me know if you guys have any more. All right, looking at the models again. After the system that goes through on Thursday, it's actually going to start improving. The weather is going to get a bit nicer around here. Stand by, just getting this set up here. Looking at the European model right now. So here's today's system. Going to be showery in nature this afternoon with the possibility of thunderstorms and maybe even a tornado chance down there, especially in Clark County and on the coast. But again, very slight chance. And then here is the system tomorrow, the more vigorous front, and there's going to be bigger wave action on the backside of that. And then once we get into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, it looks like we're probably going to dry out. And it might even be a little bit more tranquil next week as well. But yeah, this is looking at the wave action here. So today, there's going to be some decent sized waves out there on the coast, but they're not going to be quite as big as the swell tomorrow. This is looking at tomorrow at, I believe, let's see. Yeah, it's 3. That's 1. 1 p.m. Sorry, the time change is still messing with my head a little bit. This is 1 p.m. out there on the coast, and then 5 p.m. But this dark red color right here is getting up towards the 20-foot range. And the National Weather Service, their high surf advisory calls for 20 to 25-foot breaking waves. And there also may be a couple waves that are even bigger than that. Looking over at the comments here. Vivian, torn between Westport and Long Beach area. Yeah, I would, if you want big splashing waves on cliffs and stuff like that, then Cape Disappointment, the Long Beach Peninsula is where you want to go. If you want to see more of the impacts to infrastructure and stuff like that, Westport will be the place to go. Rainy. The wind going to be in Longview, Kelso. It'll get breezy, but nothing too crazy. You guys also have some chance of thunderstorms today, maybe even a possible funnel cloud or a weak tornado. The Cascades. Well, that depends on where exactly at the foot of the Cascades you're at, Sheila. But you guys just had the east winds if you're on the western slopes of the Cascades. Ashley gets, how do wind conditions look in the Roy area today? We got to hit hard over the weekend before last, and I'm a little spooked. You guys should be okay. Yeah, the winds today are going to be breezy, but not crazy. I'm going to put this actually on a loop so that you guys have something more interesting to look at while I'm looking at the comments here. Interesting. So the stream is better on Facebook, huh, Kayla? Is that what you're saying? But yeah, either way, the thing about Facebook, and part of the reason why I'm getting YouTube going more, is because Facebook is deleting live streams after 30 days. And they don't seem, like Facebook's algorithm doesn't seem to push out horizontal formatted live streams very well. But anyways, just wanted to give you guys kind of a brief update here. I didn't have time to do a nice polished video this morning. Just wanted to let you guys know again, there are thunderstorm chances today as this system goes through. Here's all the flashes for the thunderstorms that are currently off the Oregon coast. And this right here is going to swing up more towards western Washington as we go on today. Plenty of instability for western Washington. Could be the off chance of there being a funnel cloud or a tornado. The highest chance for a tornado or a funnel cloud would be down there in the southwest Washington coast, or I would say by Battleground and Vancouver. And part of the reason for this is we have the gorge right here. There can be enhanced easterlies sometimes that come out of the gorge, which can lead to increased shear right there where the easterlies meet up with the southerlies, create some convergence, some additional helicity and turning with height also. And there's just going to be a decent amount of instability down there in Clark County. And I've seen it happen time and time again where there was a brief little spin up down there by like Battleground, Washington or something. Ronnie says they personally like YouTube more. Sweet. Hi, Bees from Texas. Yeah, we got some major coastal flooding possible today. That's really one of the main stories. And yeah, whenever we get even the slightest chance of what we might call a bird fart tornado here in Washington State, us Northwesterners get a little bit, our interest gets piqued. We'll just put it like that. But yeah, nothing expected like what happens out there in Texas for sure. I have chased a mile-wide wedge out there in Texas, and those things are crazy. Don't expect anything like that today. Mike McAuliffe, nothing crazy snow-wise happening for the mountains anytime soon. Yeah, they are usually bees over on YouTube. Usually kind of a joke. Sometimes though we can on a very rare occasion get a strong tornado, like what happened out in Port Orchard back in 2018. And then also there was an F3 near Kent, I believe, in the 60s, I believe. And then there was also an F3 down in Vancouver, Washington one time in the 70s, I believe. Interesting that the picture is clearer and more stable on Facebook. Huh. Well, I'll have to look into that a little more. Anyways, folks, I have to actually get off to work here, so I will talk to you guys later, but thanks for hopping on. And don't forget to like the video and also subscribe if you're enjoying these things. And we'll see if we can do any chasing this week as well. Okay, folks, I will talk to you later. Adios.